Welcome back to part 2 of DSP's inbox for October 28th, 2010. We've got one really long question to get through, and then we have Twitter questions. So I'm actually happy. I have a little bit more time this week to talk a little bit more about the Twitter questions, which are actually really good. So, here's the long question, so bear with me. Alright. DSP, I know that you might feel that this is unimportant, especially with losing your job and the fact that you had to find any necessary means to gain more participation with your videos, but I see that as time goes by and the more you sway away from what you used to be or do back on your original channel, I find it difficult to participate. I hate what you did to your Hateful Truth series. Episode 13 is an example. I miss the comedy, the old original Hateful Truth, I remember that when you were reviewing Street Fighter 4, I laughed so hard at the ending and enjoyed it a lot. Also, when you were reviewing Bayonetta, and you did this thing where you were trying to explain to your friend about what the game was about, I laughed so hard, at that as well. You also did the same thing with the Friend Request Ridicule series, and you ended up turning that into DSP's inbox. But I guess that was to be expected since it was going to die out anyways, and there weren't a lot of questions from your fans to answer in a funny way. I remember watching one of your Friend Request Ridicule videos, and the guy sung that one song about Never Gonna Give You Up, it's a Rick Roll, and you started dancing after, which was hilarious. I'll sum this up and try to ask you a question so that you can address it either by sending me a reply email or in your DSP inbox video. Well, I think it's pretty obvious where I'm going to respond. Please don't take this the wrong way. I won't, because I'm an intelligent adult and I can take feedback, so this is good. This is a good opportunity. I've seen way too many original products turn into something completely different. For an example, I used to actually watch the WWE, which was a lot of fun to watch back in the day, but now it's only rated PG, and we get to see the same crap every day, the storylines are awful, etc. Okay, so here's the question. Do you feel that as being the product... Let me try to rephrase the sentence so it makes sense. Do you feel that the product has changed a lot after you lost your original Dark Side Phil channel and it was shut down for more than one occasion, which is obviously the reason that made you create other channels, and he says, and that's another thing he hates. So he's asking, does I feel that my product has changed significantly since my first time that the Dark Side Phil channel was suspended earlier this year, which forced me to create other channels. He says, I used to like watching everything on Dark Side Phil rather than having to navigate through so many channels. And it's not about being lazy, it's just, he says, I would get the same feeling if Nigga Higa, who's also one of the most popular channels on YouTube, incidentally, made 4 more channels and was putting content on all of them at once. Also, do you feel that you're changing for the better or worse? Sorry for the long message, I couldn't keep it brief, from Jester S. An extremely intelligent question. And I really appreciate that question, because even though there's some negative feedback, it lets me respond to it and really think about it and reflect on it. The bottom line is this. I absolutely knew that over time that what I do was going to change. In the beginning, I really thought that a lot of my videos on the Hateful Truth were really amateurish. For example, now that I go back and I watch the first, second, third episode, and I'm like, those really weren't that funny, it wasn't that good. But it was just me trying to throw something out there and get it done. I did like where the series was going, like what I did with Super Street Fighter 4, what I did with regular Street Fighter 4, what I did with Bayonetta earlier this year, and I enjoyed doing it. The problem was, I was playing games, and those videos take so much time to edit. It was either, well, do I want to put out all this content for everyone, which it seems like a lot of people want, or do I want to just do this one review video and never put out the playthrough? And it's been hit or miss. A lot of people seem to push one way and say, Phil, we just would like to see the review, and a lot of people push the other way and say, no, we want to see the playthrough. And I got some really good advice from someone a couple weeks back, and they said, Phil, no matter what you do, making this your full-time job, you have to stay true to your core product. So no matter what you do, don't stop doing the playthroughs, because the playthroughs is what you started with, it's what you focused on, it's what you've gotten the best at, and that's why people really come to watch you, to watch your playthroughs, and then everything else just stems off of that. And I kind of have to agree with that. I have to say I started on YouTube doing the playthroughs. I think that's what I should focus on the most and continue with that, and so everything else is going to be on the periphery. Now, Jester makes a good point. There's a lot of things that I used to do, for example, the Friend Request Ridicule videos, or the full-length Hateful Truth videos with jokes and a lot of production value and things like that I don't get to do anymore. First of all, the friend request ridicule videos I don't do simply because it's not like it used to be. I used to get some of the most ridiculous messages that were honestly from like insane people. That was the thing. It was before I was this big on YouTube, before I had thousands of people signing up for websites and sending me emails. I would just randomly go to my inbox on Xbox Live and I would get like, I'm a chick with big double D tits and I want to talk to you. And I'd be like, what the fuck is this? And yeah, people rickrolling me and stuff like that. But once people started seeing those videos on YouTube, they started like forcing it, like intentionally sending me stupid things, to the point where 1 year ago on Halloween I actually did my last friend request ridicule, and it pretty much wasn't that funny. There just wasn't anything funny about it because people were just trying too hard. And unfortunately that's what happens when you get bigger. You get more people who try to contact you because they want to be part of it, and unfortunately it wasn't funny. So without getting those honestly silly things that I was getting through the inboxes or the Xbox Live, I couldn't do a good episode. So unfortunately that series died out. Now the Hateful Truth, would I like to turn it back into what it used to be? Because for the past 2 weeks, if you don't know, I am doing the Hateful Truths again, but these episodes are basically just me reviewing the games, giving my honest review of the games, which are really honest, and the scores are a lot lower than what these stupid gaming media websites are giving them because they overinflate every frickin' score that they give. But anyway, yeah, I understand what Jester's saying. You know, they used to be these really full-length, feature-length things, 20 minutes, some of them were two-parters, and they had effects, they had videos, music, and I can't do that anymore because I'm so busy doing playthroughs right now. Eventually, would I like to bring it back to that? Absolutely. I don't know if I'll be able to. What that would probably mean is that I would have to cut back on a lot of the playthroughs that I do, especially with a lot of the other ideas that people are coming up with. Like, people want me to do these top 10 series, people want me to do community play dates with them, and I can't do all that and maintain the amount of videos that I've been pumping out for game playthroughs. So it's either going to be that I need to be a lot more selective with the games that I'm playing, or on the flip side, I just play as many games as I can, and I don't have time to do things like these feature like Hateful Truth. So I have to think about what I want to do. Now, I believe what he was basically saying in the end here, you know, do you think that this is changing for the better or worse? What do you think happened with your multiple channel? The multiple channel thing, really, I understand. I do understand. It's confusing as hell, and it's annoying as hell for me, because I understand that there's people who are just being confused at having there's people who don't even know that I don't put videos up on the Dark Side Phil channel anymore, and I haven't done it for like 6 months, let's put it that way. And I don't blame them, because if you're just the occasional YouTube user, you're not necessarily on there every day or every week. You might come back in a month and say, oh shit, what happened to Dark Side Phil? I don't know. Oh well. The whole getting the channel shut down thing really did hurt me a lot. I mean, I had something like 60 to 70,000 subscribers at that point, and I get the feeling that a lot of them just never came back because they thought I was gone. But yeah, I understand. Having DSP Gaming for playthroughs, having the King of Hate HD for vlogs, and you know, all these other kinds of videos, and that being the partner channel, still having Dark Side Phil as like a hub, having a Red Dead Redemption channel, having a Final Fantasy 13 channel, super confusing. But that's why I finally worked with someone and got the kingofhate.com created as a hub. Right now, if you go there, you're going to find there's links to my Star Wars The Force Unleashed playthrough. I'm waiting for them to update it and put all the games from last night up on there. But that's going to be a hub of content. What you're going to see is at the top of the main page of that website, you're going to see my current biggest playthroughs that I'm doing. So right now, The Force Unleashed 2 is up there. Fable 3 will be going up there when I start it today. And all the biggest games are going to be going up there. At the bottom of that page, you're going to see all the other stuff. So all the stuff from the King of Hate HD is down there. All my, you know, Cooking with the Kings, my DSP Tries-Its, all those are going to be at the bottom. So, yeah, I mean, that's why I did that. I understood that having that many channels was a hindrance to some people, and that's why I made this website. So if it's a problem for you to keep up with all the stuff going on, I would even go so far as to say you don't have to check the channels every day. Go check the website and see what's going on, and if the website isn't explanatory enough to you, then go check out the individual channels. Actually, on the main page of the website, all of my channels are actually listed at the top as well. So it's a hub to jump to whatever content you want to jump to that I've been working on. It's all at a glance rather than you having to look at 10 different pages. So I understand that now. Jester's final question was, if I can find it, do you feel that you're changing for the better or worse? The bottom line is this. I think that I'm putting out a lot more content. I think I'm putting out a lot more variety that's now attracting a larger fan base. In fact, since I lost my job, the KFC channel has had a ridiculous jump in subscribers, which if it were stuff that people were interested in, it never would have happened. And I've gotten lots of positive feedback on my new series, like DSP Tries It, Cooking with the King, saying, yeah, these have nothing to do with gaming, but it's great. We still love it because we love your personality, and we're getting information out of these videos that's useful to us, so yeah, keep it up. So for me to say, am I changing for the better or worse, is a little bit, and I mean a little bit, of the comedy that I used to put in some of my videos going away, yes. But that doesn't mean that the content is any less. I would say, if anything, my playthroughs are actually a lot more funny than they used to be. Some games, I used to just sit there, and if I didn't like it, I would just sit there and hate it. And, you know, when you see someone just sitting there being miserable playing a game that they don't like, the playthrough's going to suck. But now, for example, with the Force Unleashed 2, which I didn't particularly like that much because the game was slow as shit, short as shit, and just not that good. It was pretty much a ripoff. I try to do more with it, and I try to make jokes, and I try to do that, and I think it makes it a better playthrough overall. So I think playthrough-wise, the quality has gone way up. Variety-wise has also gone way up. If anything, a couple things like The Hateful Truth has suffered, but at this point, I'd rather just get reviews out and let you know what my honest thoughts on these games are, rather than not doing it at all. I would rather get it done than not do it, and then people are like, damn, we're not going to watch a 50-part playthrough because we don't have time, and then Phil never reviewed the game, so really we never got to learn anything about that game. I understand that with change, some people don't like it, and that's true. It's absolutely true. With every change that ever happens on the planet, some people are afraid that you're losing something. I think overall this change is going to be for the better. And I think that if this works out as a full-time job, that next year in 2011 I'll have a lot more time to do a lot of different things that people will enjoy. For example, I really am dying to go to like a gaming convention like MagFest, which I went to in 2007, and just hang out. I'm not going to go there to sell stuff, and I'm not going to go there to make money. I just want to go there and hang out and meet people and have fun and listen to really good, music and play games and buy and trade some games and just do that kind of stuff. So it is what it is. Everything changes in time, and I'm hoping that things will continue to get better over time. Okay. Looks like we're actually getting to the Twitter questions, but give me 1 second. I'm going to close my window because there's breeze coming in here, and I don't want... Okay. So the Twitter questions. I think we have 9 of them today. Let me see how I'm doing on time. Oh, I'm doing good. Got like 15 minutes at least left. The first question is, what is your internet connection? Because it seems like you upload videos quickly. Funny question. Well, first of all, my internet connection is Cablevision, which is Optimum Online. It is a cable modem service. It's not DSL. I have the basic plan, and to be completely honest, it is fast, but it's not great. The reason I say that is, as you see, when I try to play games like Street Fighter 4 online, it sucks. It lags. Other games, like FPS games, it isn't as bad because those games actually don't need as quickly of a reaction as like a fighting game. I think fighting games actually need the quickest reactions to what's going on in the game. Now, to answer your question, well, how do you upload videos so quickly? A lot of people have commented on this. Honestly, it has nothing to do with my internet connection. It has to do with the fact that I bought this new camera earlier this year, and my old camera that I used to use was a Sony. The video quality was good, but the file size was very large. Now this camera can actually do even better quality than that old camera, but the file size is smaller. It's about 1/3 smaller. So really it's because the file sizes have decreased that I'm able to upload these videos so quickly. A lot of people have asked me 2 things. They said, why don't you get faster internet? And the answer is because the only faster internet that exists right now for this condo that I live in is if I were to get the boost package for my internet, and from what I'm told, it doesn't work properly here because I'm in a condo and everyone's using the same exact lines. So it's like when you have 100 people in one building using the same lines, it doesn't matter if you have boost or not, you're going to be slow. There's nothing you can do about it. I've looked into maybe getting another line, and I was basically told by the condo association, no, we're not going to allow you to do that because these condos, we want them to be equal. So like, for example, in 2 years, if I try to sell this, it would be a harder sell to say, oh, by the way, we did all this work and we added another line and we did this and that. They want them to be similar units. So unfortunately, I'm not able, unless I wanted to out of pocket, pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars for Cablevision to come in and tear up the walls and run lines in here to get an additional internet line. So that's out of the question. And going along with that, just to remind everyone, a lot of people still ask me this question, why don't you do streaming video? Why don't you do live streams? Because the internet's not good enough here. That's why. In fact, Howard has been trying to set up live streams. He has the same internet that I do, only he doesn't live in a condo, and he's been having massive problems getting stream working from his place. So obviously, someone there, he doesn't even have the same internet constraints that I have, and he's having problems. Imagine if I tried to do it with my laggy internet. It would be stupid. So that answers that question. Next question, why don't you invite John Rambo to come live with you? Wouldn't that help your financial burden right now? That's a funny question. Two answers to that. Number one, this condo is small enough. It's just basically a bedroom, a bathroom, my kitchen area, my living room. There's not enough room for two people to live here, to be completely honest. And number two, John is also currently unemployed because he lost his job a couple months back. And he's been struggling, but he's been doing constructive things. He's planning to go back to school and things like that. So rather than him rushing back to another crappy job, he's decided to maybe regroup a little bit and try to do a couple things. So yeah, honestly, it wouldn't help because, you know, there's not enough room here, and honestly, he doesn't have a lot of money now either to try to split the cost of living here. Plus, I'll be honest with you, I've lived with people many times, split apartments and things, and at this point, I've earned my right to be here and own my own place, and I'm going to stay here for as long as I can, goddammit, without, you know, having to give that up. This question is a good one. Someone said, the Xbox 360 seems to have a lot fewer exclusives coming up in 2011, at least so far from what's been announced. The PS3 seems to have a lot of exclusives coming up. Do you think this is part of the Kinect effect? Per se. And what I think he's trying to get at is, with the Microsoft Kinect, which seems to be the major focus of Microsoft in the next year, does it look like they're going to have a lot less exclusives and a lot less games for the hardcore player? My answer to that is I sure as hell hope not, because that's going to be a really dumb strategy. I think what they're going to find is that during Christmas, maybe a lot of families will pick up the Kinect, but it's not going to be a hardcore seller like the Wii was. It's not going to sell hundreds and hundreds of shovelware titles. I don't think you're going to see 100 third-party developers making titles for the Kinect simply because it's a new technology. And in addition to all that, the Kinect requires you to have a living room that's an empty open space in order to even use the damn thing. I don't even know how it's going to work with most people who don't have gigantic freaking living rooms to do it. For me to do it in a week, when I get it, I'm going to have to move my coffee table out of the middle of my room, which is going to be a giant hassle. So I'm not sure how they're going to work this thing out or how they're going to sell this damn thing. Now, for what I'm to understand, they've already gotten so many complaints that you need such a giant open area that they're going to basically create software patches for the Kinect next year in 2011 that will allow you to just sit on a couch and just move your upper body and play the same games. And I think that's a logical thing to do because I don't think the majority of people are going to want to be jumping around their freaking living room for more than 5 minutes to play games. The Wii doesn't require you to do that, and the Wii is what they're trying to emulate with this thing. So what I would basically say is this part of the Kinect effect? I really hope not. I hope that the Microsoft understands that the hardcore gamer still needs to be treated like that, and they're not going to run out to buy games for the Kinect. I'm going to try it myself to demo some of these games, but it doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to keep buying games for it either. This is more of me, as part of my job, showing you what the Kinect is like so you can judge for yourself whether or not you should get it and if you like it. So we'll see what happens. Maybe it's just going to be a slow year for Microsoft, which is fine. Everyone has slow years, and with their market share right now, I don't really think it's a big deal for them to have a slow year. but at the same time, I really hope it's not part of an effect where they're just going to focus on the Kinect. Next question is, do you ever worry about losing the joy of gaming now that YouTube is your job? The answer to that question is yes, I do. But so far, at least doing this for 1 month now, it is exactly 1 month since this started. It's been fun, even with the amount of games that I've been playing, and some of them that weren't necessarily the best games. I ended up playing games that I didn't think were going to be good, and they ended up being hilarious, and I'm still having fun doing it. Now, in a year's time, this may be a completely different opinion, but for now, I'm still loving what I'm doing. Right now, I'm loving the fact that I'm free to do what I want to do when I can do it. At any time, I can change my schedule. You know, it's not like it used to be when I had a 9-to-5 job and I had to answer to a boss that didn't necessarily know what the hell they were talking about, but who, of course, thought they knew that better than anyone else. And I'm having a lot of fun. I am. So, am I worried about it? It is a concern in the back of my head, but I think as long as I remain control of what I'm doing, I think it'll still be fun for me because I just love gaming in general. Even if it's a game that I don't necessarily like that much, like The Force Unleashed 2, I still had fun with that game. So, next question, will you marry me in Fable 3? I was actually waiting for this question because I don't know if you've heard about it, but with the online capabilities of Fable 3, you can actually marry someone over the internet, and if you do that, you actually get achievement points. So I have two questions for you. Number one, are you a female in real life? Because I will not marry any dudes. And number two, is there any kind of a dowry involved? Like, will I get several cattle, or, you know, maybe some steer out of the deal, maybe, you know, a couple concubines? We can talk it out and work the details out later, so get back to me on that one. The next question is, what is the first time that you played Street Fighter 2? That's a really good question, and I really can't elaborate too much on it because we're starting to run out of time, but the bottom line is, I first played Street Fighter 2 when I was a kid. I think I was like 10. I'm trying to remember exactly when the game was released, but basically I walked into my local arcade, and I had always liked the beat-em-ups. Like, I was a fan of the classic Simpsons beat-em-up 4-player co-op game, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game, and I loved it. I used to go to the arcade to play those games. But after you beat them a couple times, they get stale, and then all of a sudden I saw this game everyone was crowding around. It was called Street Fighter 2. I was like, wow, that kind of looks interesting. And my dad looked at it and said, it looks violent, but let's let him try it. It was funny because everyone who was playing it was like a teenager or older. Some people were in their 20s, and here I am, like a 10, 11-year-old kid or whatever, walking in to play this game. And I remember the first time I played it, I got my ass beat, but the second time I played it, I picked E Honda, and I beat like 3 people in a row. It was insane. And people were like, holy shit, where's this little kid who just walked in and whooped everyone's ass? And that's really much where it started. And that became my local arcade, where I frequented it every Friday and Saturday night. I played the game all the time. That arcade usually got the newest iteration of whatever the Street Fighter was going with, and I played them all. Then there started to become locals who came by, and we all knew each other, and we started to learn strategies in the games and things like that, and it became a big thing. And that's really how I got my start in Street Fighter. So honestly, it was a really random thing that just happened. It wasn't planned. I didn't go there to play Street Fighter 2. I'd never heard about it, and I just kind of stumbled into it. I was actually kind of like a prodigy just from the first time I played it, and the rest is history. Okay, I've gotten this next question about 700,000 times, so I'll answer it. Will you try the KFC Double Down sandwich? Yes, I'll try it. I will try it. I can't say when, but what I'll try to do is when I get a chance, the next time I'm out and I'm going to grab something quick to eat, I'll see if there's a KFC nearby and I'll try the sandwich. So many people have asked me, I guess because this sandwich is getting the reputation of like the worst sandwich you can buy, it's the worst for you. I'll try it. I'm not necessarily going to eat the whole damn thing because I'll probably get sick from it, but I will try it and we'll make that an episode of DSP Tries It. 2 more questions left and then we're done for this episode. Will you ever review other TV shows besides wrestling? And the answer to that is, I've thought about it, but honestly, I do watch some shows. Like I watch Chuck, which I've mentioned in previous videos from Smart Guys. I watched House. I watch certain shows. Hell's Kitchen I love. I love Gordon Ramsay, the chef. He's hilarious, and I think I really love anything he's on. I think it's a funny show. But yeah, although I do like watching those shows, I don't know how much interest there would be in hearing me talk about them, especially since my fan base is mostly gamers. I don't know if they're really going to care about what I think about the latest episode of House, you know what I mean? I guess let me know, give me some feedback, let me know what you think about that, but for the most part, it's never really occurred to me that that would be something that would be popular. And then the last question, can you actually do wrestling news on Smart Guys? I guess what he's referring to is that on Smart Guys, it's really a recap right now of what's been going on with wrestling shows and pay-per-views, but we don't necessarily get too deep into industry news. The bottom line is this: we are going to talk about news when news comes up that's important, but really not a lot's been going on in the past month or two with wrestling, news-wise. We did mention when Matt Hardy got released and that he's possibly going to TNA, probably is, based off of his Facebook comments. And we were mentioning everything. Actually, this week we're going to mention the confrontation between Undertaker and Brock Lesnar at the latest UFC that just happened, because it looks like that might be leading up to something that's going to happen in wrestling, but we're not sure. So when there is industry news that's important and we catch it and it catches our eye, we'll mention it, but we don't want it to just be like a behind-the-scenes news show. There's way too many of those out there already. I mean, there's so many websites that are already doing that, and a lot of them take flack because they report stuff that's not necessarily true just for the sake of reporting something for the day. That's not the purpose of the Smart Guys show, so really what it is us reviewing what happens on wrestling shows during the week and giving our opinions, and then if there's important industry news that we know about, we'll mention it. So that's the purpose of the show. Alright, I think you've listened to me enough. It's been almost an hour I've been now talking, answering this DSP inbox. Again, to remind everyone, it's not DSP inbox anymore. It's going to be Ask the King. I'm going to go put a new thread on the website, thekingofhate.com, about it right now on the forums. That's where you can post your questions for the next episode from now on, and I will also continue to ask these questions on Twitter. And that's it. So thanks a lot, everyone. I appreciate it, and I will see you next time for Ask the King, Episode 1.